You're watching Knowledge and Wisdom, where we explore the depths of history, theology, philosophy, archaeology, and beyond. If you're curious to uncover truth and insight across time, this is the place for you. So as a professor of theology and a student of church history, the Bible, and biblical archaeology, I'm fascinated whenever I see any kind of topic talking about biblical archaeology. Now, I came across this video titled, "Divers Found Pharaoh's Army Beneath the Red Sea. The discovery left Egyptologists frozen." That caught my attention. And then I also noticed 1.3 million people watched the video. And looking through the comment section, everybody feels that this video is confirming the biblical account of the Exodus and the drowning of Pharaoh's army that's described in that book. So the video makes some really fascinating claims. Let's take a look at just a few of them.
There is a battlefield at the bottom of the Red Sea. We're not talking about a single shipwreck. We're talking about an entire Egyptian army. A recent high-tech dive has just uncovered what amateur explorers have claimed for years. Hundreds of chariot wheels, horse skeletons, and human remains perfectly preserved in coral. The team was stunned. The shapes looked exactly like wheels. Hundreds of them. This detail is a massive wow factor. Why? Because these specific designs match perfectly the different types of chariots used by the Egyptian army during the New Kingdom period.
So this alleged secret unnamed team evidently found all sorts of chariots at the bottom of the Red Sea, hundreds of them. But not only that, they also mention animal and human bones.
Some were clearly animal, the skulls, ribs, and femurs of horses, exactly where they would be if they were still harnessed to the chariots. But others were unmistakably human. Spines, pelvic bones, and fragments of skulls all mixed together in a chaotic, terrible jumble.
I mean, this is really big news. I mean, if this actually happened, if there really was this discovery, you would think it would be all over the news and Egyptologists would be talking about this in every one of their publications. But they're silent about it. And why is that? Well, the video offers a theory. Let's take a look at why they say Egyptologists in the news isn't reporting on this.
To them, it's a myth. A powerful story of cultural foundation, but a myth nonetheless. Now suddenly, a team of divers following the map of a man, Ron Wyatt, who everyone in the serious academic world dismissed as a crank, a charlatan, a religious dreamer, they find a massive underwater debris field. A field that doesn't just hint at the story, it matches it perfectly. We're not talking about one or two broken pots. We're talking about hundreds of chariots. We're talking about wheels, axles, and cabinets scattered across the seafloor. If this site is real, then the experts were wrong. And that's putting it lightly. This discovery doesn't just add a new chapter to history, it tears out all the old ones. It would mean that the ancient texts were not just stories, but accurate, literal, historical accounts. A tenured professor who has built their entire 30-year career, their entire reputation, on the Exodus as myth theory cannot suddenly turn around and say, "Oops, guess that nurse from Tennessee was right all along." Their career would be over. Their life's work would be meaningless. Every book they published would be fiction. Every student they mentored would have been taught a lie. So they are frozen. They are silent. The safest thing to do is to ignore it, to attack the source, to call it unverified, pseudoscience, or misinterpreted.
So now we're starting to get some answers. So according to the video, the archaeologists are silent about the matter and the news isn't reporting on it because it would destroy everyone's career and they would have to admit that their entire career was wrong and they would have to confirm the claims of the Bible in the book of Exodus. And you'll notice that they said that this unnamed research team based their discovery on the findings of a previous figure, Ron Wyatt. Now, Ron Wyatt is pretty controversial. He was an evangelical Christian and some say a pseudo-archaeologist. He was evidently a nurse and not trained in theology or archaeology with any kind of formal training, but just did archaeology on the side as a hobby. And so again, a lot of people felt that he was a pseudo-archaeologist. Now, he claimed to have not only discovered the chariots at the bottom of the Red Sea, but also the Ark of the Covenant and even Noah's Ark, among many other fantastic discoveries. So a lot of people dismiss him. Certainly Egyptologists and experts in the field dismiss him. And so again, the video stresses that this is just pseudo-archaeology and they can't speak the truth because their hands are bound, given the fact that they have invested their entire career in this alternative theory.
They teach this in every university, from Cairo to Harvard. It's written in every textbook. It is the dogma. They argue very logically that there is zero archaeological evidence in the Sinai Desert for 2 million people, a population the size of a modern city wandering for 40 years. They demand, where are the campsites? Where are the mass graves? Where is the pottery? They argue correctly that there is no mention in any Egyptian hieroglyph, no record on any papyrus of their entire army, their most valuable military asset, their charioteers being destroyed in a single catastrophic day. The entire foundation of modern Egyptology, its timelines, its king lists, its understanding of the 18th dynasty's power, its history, it's all built on a framework that does not include this event.
So oddly enough, it almost sounds like the video is conceding that the reason why Egyptologists and archaeologists take this position is because of a lack of evidence for the biblical description of the Exodus and for the crossing of the Red Sea. So what then do archaeologists and Egyptologists do with the alleged evidence discovered at the bottom of the Red Sea? Well, the video notes that the phenomenon that people have encountered at the bottom of the Red Sea doesn't necessarily point to the Exodus.
They will argue it's just a shipwreck graveyard from many different eras, even though the evidence points to a single massive chaotic event. They will say the coral-encrusted wheels are just coral formations or modern debris, even when the shapes are unmistakable. They will demand impossible standards of proof for this one site while accepting far less for their own pet theories. They are gatekeepers, and this discovery is a battering ram at their gates. They will never ever give an inch because giving an inch means their entire ivory tower comes crumbling down. But the wild theory here is that it goes deeper. What if it goes deeper than just a few dozen academic careers? What if this is a global conspiracy? Think about it. Really, think. If this site is proven beyond any doubt to be the remains of the Pharaoh's army, it would be seen as physical, tangible, scientific proof of one of the foundational miracles of the Old Testament.
So here the video attempts to engage some of the responses that Egyptologists and archaeologists offer to interpret what they actually have at the bottom of the Red Sea. But here the video is arguing that they interpret it in a skeptical way that doesn't lend itself to the biblical account, because if they concede the story as described by the Bible, they would have to recognize that God intervenes in history, performs miracles, and that would confirm Christianity, and that would then oppose and overthrow the secular world order that we see today. So in other words, the video is asserting it's all a big conspiracy. So looking through the comment section, it seems like the vast majority of the commenters on this 1.3 million view video say, yeah, it is a big conspiracy against Christianity. The secular world doesn't want to recognize the truth of the Bible and the truth of the claim of the book of Exodus. So a lot of people are in agreement with the results and the perspective of this video. But is it all a big conspiracy? You know, the video was incredibly vague about this new expedition of a secret group that goes to the bottom of the Red Sea and confirms what Ron Wyatt had previously allegedly discovered. They were very, very vague about this group. They don't tell us the name of the group, the people who are involved, what their credentials were, and they don't actually show us the published results of their discoveries. They're incredibly vague on this whole affair. So that made me wonder, is this actually a conspiracy, or is this actually something that is just completely made up and is fake news? You know, I was immediately struck by the fact that it almost feels like this video was done by AI. The voice behind it, the way in which the script was written sounds very AI to me. So I began to look into the matter and find out if there's any kind of evidence to corroborate this secret research team that allegedly discovered all this stuff and then confronted archaeologists and Egyptologists with this information after they went on this expedition. I tried to see if I could confirm that information, But here's what I found. So one commenter in the comment section, to their credit, because they're one of the very few, challenged the claims of the video and said, Biblical Archaeology Report shows that this story is actually fake news. So I went and took a look at the article by Biblical Archaeology Report, and it's noting the Egyptian chariot wheels in the Red Sea is fake news and doesn't carry out any reputable archaeological research. But that's in relation to Ron Wyatt's claims. What about this alleged new discovery confirming Ron Wyatt? Well, I discovered upon further investigation that this alleged new research team doesn't exist. Never happened. And that is why the video never names the research team or tells us who the people were or tells us exactly when it was or shows us the published results. It's because it simply never happened. And then I came across this website that confirmed the same thing. Evidently, this goes back to World News Daily Report, which is a satire website. Now, World News Daily Report reports things like this. A man who was serving a 6-year sentence for committing 60 public sexual assaults on pumpkins and other squashes. This is clearly a satire website, and it's not reporting real news. But that doesn't stop the commenters of the video insisting that this video and the discovery is real, and then it confirms the Bible. Some of the commenters are saying, this doesn't rewrite history, it confirms it. The world doesn't want to believe because it condemns their lifestyle. Ungodly media won't report godly proof. Google says this is fake news, but the devil is a liar. With all this evidence, unfortunately, not all will believe. This is truly amazing. With God, all things are possible. So here's the thing. Is it morally permissible to use lies and fake news to support the Bible? Or would that actually serve to undermine people's faith whenever they find out that the claims being made in videos like this are actually unsubstantiated and are false? I am all for using archaeology to support the Bible's claims. I think that's a wonderful thing. The problem with this video is it's disseminating fake news and lies under the guise of piety to confirm the biblical account. But I actually think that that will harm people's faith rather than help it. And for the people in the comment section that are supporting this stuff, what they're doing is they're supporting lies. And how is that serving the God of truth? And how is that morally permissible? I want to hear from you. Do you actually believe that original video? Do you think that it is supported by the facts? Or do you think that it's disseminating fake news and that I'm wrong and that I'm on the wrong side on this one? Or do you think that it's right to call this stuff out and say, lies shouldn't be used to support the Bible? The end doesn't justify the means. I do want to hear from you, and make sure to hit the subscribe button and hit the like button for plenty of more videos just like this one. We'll see you next time. God bless. Thanks so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe, and for a deeper dive, check out my courses at rtcourses.com and my Patreon channel at patreon.com/reason of theology.